All the top stories coming up in a moment, but let's turn to the story that's my top focus tonight, because Union Labour Minister Bandaru Dattatreya and Hyderabad University's Vice Chancellor have been named in an FIR over the alleged suicide of a Dalit student on the campus. The victim, Rohith Vemula, was among 5 students suspended by the university over an alleged case of assault after the union minister wrote to the HRD ministry against the anti-national activities, or what he described as anti-national activities in the university. India today has accessed the emotional suicide note written by Rohith before he took that extreme step. And I want to start this program tonight by reading out this note to you, because this note will tell you just why this case has taken the dimensions it has. Here is what he says. I would not be around when you read this letter. Don't get angry on me. I know some of you truly cared for me, loved me and treated me very well. I have no complaints to anyone. It was always with myself I had problems. I feel a growing gap between my soul and my body, and I have become a monster. I always wanted to be a writer of science like Carl Sagan. At last, this is the only letter I'm getting to write. I loved science, stars, nature, but then I loved people without knowing that people have long since divorced from nature. Our feelings have become second-hand, our love is constructed, our beliefs colored. It has become truly difficult to love without getting hurt. I am writing this kind of letter for the very first time. My first time of a final letter. Forgive me if I failed to make sense. Maybe I was wrong all this while in understanding the world, in understanding love, pain, life, death. There was no urgency, but I was always rushing, desperate to start a life. All this while, some people, for them, life itself is a curse. My birth is my fatal accident. I can never recover from my childhood loneliness, the unappreciated child from my past. People may dub me as a coward and selfish or stupid once I am gone. I am not bothered about what I am called. I don't believe in after-death stories, ghosts or spirits. If there is anything at all I believe that I can travel to the stars and know about the other worlds. If you who is reading this letter can do anything for me, I have to get 7 months of my fellowship, 1,75,000 rupees. Please see to it that my family is paid that. I have to give some 40,000 to Ramji. He never asked them back. Please pay him. Let my funeral be silent and smooth. Behave like I just appeared and am gone. Do not shed tears for me. Know that I am happy dead than being alive. From shadows to the stars, Uma Anna, sorry for using your room for this thing. To the Ambedkar Students Association family, sorry for disappointing all of you. You loved me very much. I wish all the very best for the future. For one last time, Jai Bhim. I forgot to write the formalities. No one is responsible for this act of killing myself. No one has instigated me, whether by their acts or by their words, to this act. This is my decision, and I am only one responsible for this. Do not trouble my friends and enemies on this after I am gone. This is the letter today which I want to lead my program with, because this letter has sparked off protests both in Delhi and in Hyderabad. Students claiming that this man was discriminated and hounded and putting a union minister in the dock. Here's our report by Editor South, T.S. Sudhir.
From Delhi to Hyderabad, students are on the streets, demanding justice for PhD scholar Rohith Vemula, who was found dead on Sunday night.
These are not suicides, these are murders.
Bandaru Dattatreya has to come down.
The young student allegedly committed suicide in the University of Hyderabad campus, highlighting the simmering campus tensions over the course of the past 5 months.
This is a letter which in fact
on the 18th of December that Rohith Vemula had written to the Vice Chancellor, and I have a copy of it here, and pretty strong words in which he tells the Vice Chancellor that you should supply a rope to the rooms of all the Dalit students. It also says that you should serve 10 mg of sodium aside. So in a sense, alleging that the Dalit students are discriminated against, there is some kind of a discrimination against Dalit students.
In August last year, Rohith was part of the Ambedkar Students Association group that protested against the hanging of the 1993 blast convict Yaqub Memon. During the protests, right-wing student members alleged that they were assaulted. Soon after, a university probe found no evidence against Rohith's campus group. The matter should have ended there, but Union Minister Bandaru Dattatreya shot off a letter to HRD Minister seeking action against the students and claiming that the university was becoming a hub for anti-national politics.
My brother has done this thing for something. But if you clearly understand what he has done this, because just do that. And I just want to ask that VC, why you didn't come here and you just condole to us.
As protests continued, the university rolled back the suspension, but months later, a newly appointed vice-chancellor expelled 5 students. Now, a case of abetment to suicide has been registered against the union minister, a university vice-chancellor and 2 ABVP members. The FIR became ammunition for the opposition, aiming straight at the Labour minister.
The vice-chancellor and the people involved in this crime should be immediately removed. And as I stated earlier, the minister who has a FIR filed against him should immediately be removed from the cabinet.
We have sent a 2-member committee to look into the issue and give us a status report on what has happened within the university campus.
A young student allegedly driven to take his own life after months of harassment. Will Rohith get justice? With T.S. Sudhir in Hyderabad and Anindya Banerjee in Delhi, Bureau Report for India Today.
The suicide of a young student has resulted in this political confrontation. Now, Editor South T.S. Sudhir spoke to 2 friends of Rohith Vemula, who were among the 5 people suspended for an attack on the BJP student wing ABVP. The clash had ensued soon after ABVP had objected to the Ambedkar Student Association bringing out a rally last year against the hanging of 1993 blast convict Yaqub Memon.
5 research scholars who were suspended by the University of Hyderabad in December led to this extremely unfortunate incident. With me are the 2 other research scholars who were also with Rohith in the group which was suspended. Sunkanna, this has led to this extremely tragic incident. Did you see it coming? Was Rohith depressed in any manner? What was he telling you over the last day or 2 days?
He was very active. He was very enthusiastic. When we started this movement, he was very much active. But the thing is that, again, without any proper investigation, when university second time suspended us, he gone into depression. And at the same time, for the past 7 months, his fellowship is being stopped. And he has to send the money to the family because whole family depends on his fellowship, and he is the only income source for the family.
So you're saying that he went into depression. Prashant, yes. What was he telling you? How was this kind of depression manifesting itself?
I do not say that Rohith is such a coward to take this decision as if he has gone into a mode of depression, but he has taken it as a mode of protest, following the lines of Shahir Vilas Gogre, who also has committed suicide after having seen the apathy of Ramabai Nagar riots that have happened in Maharashtra. Basically, to go into the details of the case, Rohith Vemula was very much active, and he was fighting for basically self-respect, and whenever someone comments on Ambedkar, he cannot tolerate
I'm hearing
it.
this word self-respect a lot. There's a lot of talk of discrimination against Dalit students. Yeah. Is it entirely a Dalit versus non-Dalit issue here on campus?
This particular issue is a Dalit versus non-Dalit issue, because the orders that have been passed without conducting any proper inquiry, and the facts of the case represent something while the final decision represents some other thing.
You were saying something that even during classroom, even during in the mess, everywhere this discrimination is very, very apparent, very in your face. Tell us about that.
Yes, sir. In our classroom, we are coming from rural background. We have studied in Telugu medium schools, and we are not good in speaking English. When we start speaking in English, people start laughing at us. People discriminate us. Even the way we look in the classroom with others, they start tagging
your food
us.
habits.
Yeah. Also my food habit, since I am a Dalit fellow, every week we have a beef in my home. If I had the thing here, immediately they are tagging us as anti-nations. If I had my food, then they are tagging anti-nation.
Okay.
Who are these?
Do you think the letter written by Bandaru Dattatreya to the HRD minister was in a sense the tipping point? It proved to be, it kind of gave the entire thing a different direction.
It was the tipping point because before Bandaru Dattatreya's letter came to the university, the judgment was one thing. But after Bandaru Dattatreya's intervention, without any proper inquiry, they have suspended. Later, the decision was revoked after a continuous series of protests. However, after that revocation, they have again suspended us based on the letters that have come from MHRD, which were again in turn based on the Bandaru Dattatreya's representation. In a way, in this whole incident, Bandaru Dattatreya has played a pivotal role in the social boycott of these 5 Dalit researchers.
My final
Lots of questions that are being raised over the death of this student tonight. I'm going to raise a few more. Was this young man then killed because he was a Dalit? Was he murdered? Was he driven to suicide? Or was he in a state of depression and therefore committed suicide? Kancha Elaya, Dalit rights activist, Professor Maulana Azad, National Urdu University from Hyderabad is joining me. Zamir Ahmed is a research scholar and student at the University of Hyderabad. Faizan Mustafa is the Vice Chancellor of NALSAR and has framed the rules to try and ensure that there are some rules in which college campuses function to ensure that suicides don't take place. Saurabh Kumar is the Joint Secretary of the ABVP, an organization which finds itself in the dock. But I want to come to you, Kancha Elaya, first today. Is it fair to make this issue about Dalits versus non-Dalits? There is nothing in the letter that I have before me. This letter does not at any stage, it is suicide note. Is he suggesting that he killed himself because he felt discriminated as a Dalit? And yet this issue has been politicized and made out to be Dalit versus non-Dalit. Is it fair to say that Ranjit committed suicide because he was a Dalit?
No, Rajdeep, the issue is, it's not just the question of Dalit versus non-Dalit. When there was an incident on the campus,
yes,
2 student group clash, whatever the issue is, whether it is Yaqub Menon or somebody else, it is the university authorities to resolve it. But the question here is that, see, this is a campus where earlier some Dalit students also committed suicide. Almost 6-7 happened in the past, and the Ambedkar Student Association has been one of the very active academic body which has been asserting for rights. Several of us from all over the country go to their platform and speak on issues and so on and so forth. Now, when this incident happened, how does the minister get involved into this by characterizing this organization, which is well known for its pro-Dalit, pro-Ambedkarite activities? Look at that letter of the boy, who at the end, with a philosophical dimension, not blaming anybody, notwithstanding the earlier letter that he wrote to the Vice Chancellor, at the end said Jai Hind and left this world.
No, my point is,
right?
Sir, my limited point,
Is he right calling him anti-national?
Is there evidence to say that he was directly discriminated because he was a Dalit? Is there evidence that you have to say that there is discrimination that took place in this case because the boy was from a Dalit community? He took out a protest in support. The Ambedkar Students Association took out a protest in support of Yaqub Memon. Therefore, they were targeted. Were they targeted because they were Dalits?
One can disagree with it. No, one can disagree with it. See, what is happening ever since BJP came to power, even earlier when it was in power,
yes,
the ABVP students don't conduct their own affairs. They interfere with others' affairs. And then if some problem comes, they will go to their ministers. The ministers write to MHRD. And on the one side, MHRD minister is saying that we don't interfere with the central government universities, they are autonomous. Then why a minister writes a letter to MHRD, whether that MHRD has directed that letter back to The Vice Chancellor, they themselves appointed. See, Rajdeep, you must understand the academic logic here. You have appointed a Vice Chancellor. If there is some issue going on, then if you as a minister write and the MHRD ministry directs that letter to this, the Vice Chancellor definitely feels pressurized, and the action, revocation of the action, and the feeling of the students has interlinked.
Okay.
That is the way one has to look at it.
Let me bring in Saurabh Kumar, of the Joint Secretary of the ABVP. The allegation being made is that the minister directly intervened in what was seen to be a conflict on the campus between the ABVP and the Ambedkar Students Association, intervened on the behalf of the ABVP, ensured that these students were suspended, ensured that these students would be eventually expelled, created a situation which may well have driven Rohith to suicide. Saurabh Kumar, do you concede that the minister should not have intervened in this matter? It is not for the minister to intervene on behalf of the ABVP against a Dalit Students Association.
No, first of all, we express our condolence of this demise of a scholar, but at the same time I would say that I would argue that the intervention of minister which is being talked here is not about the issue of the what led to the suicide of that student. It is totally different letter which was sent by the minister, which stated that there are some anti-national activities are going on in the campus, and it has nothing to do with this inquiry which we are talking here.
No, 1 minute.
I don't think there is any link between these two incidences.
Are we saying that if a student takes out if a students group takes out a protest march which they believe is in support of Yaqub Memon, you are effectively saying that this student's body, in your view, is essentially practicing anti-national activity. Am I correct? That a march taken out on the campus is anti-national.
Yes,
it has nothing to do with the fact that he was a Dalit.
Because
it has nothing to do with the fact that he was a Dalit.
No, not at all. Even in this campus in JNU also, students have organized such kind of protest, and we said we labeled it as anti-national issue, anti-national activities. Even they organized protest for Afzal Guru's hanging, and that too was labeled as anti-national activity by our organization.
No.
And
So you are
totally.
So you are no. 1 minute. You are deciding what is anti-national and what is national on the campus at the moment. Joining me now, Zamir Ahmed, research scholar, student at the University of Hyderabad. Zamir Ahmed, respond to that. Should these students have taken out this protest march in support of Yaqub Memon? That is being used now to suggest that the minister therefore had the right to dub it anti-national and write to the Vice Chancellor arguing for their suspension. How do you respond to that?
Sardeep, let me begin by saying that University of Hyderabad is in state of mourning. We are mourning the death of our colleague, a budding scholar who had 2 JRFs, a son of a widow, and we are kind of shocked that such an intelligent guy has taken such an extreme step. You have read that letter. That letter has to be understood in the context, and the context is that for 2 weeks these 5 Dalit students were camping outside under the sky, and the university authorities have not had any discussion with them. Of course they were Dalit and that's why they were expelled. Of course they were Dalits and that's why they were staying outside under the sun.
Hold on. Let me begin. No, you are making a serious charge. Are you saying that if these boys were Brahmins, if these boys were upper caste who had taken out a protest in favor of Yaqub Memon at the time when he was to be hanged, they would not have been expelled, they would not have been suspended, then expelled, kept out in the sun? Are they only being targeted? Please, you are making a very serious charge here.
Yes, I am making a very serious charge, but I am also saying, let me begin by saying this, Sardeep, that as far as Yaqub Memon's thing is concerned, University of Hyderabad students, all the political organization except ABVP, we stand against the capital punishment. That is our stand. Our stand is against the capital punishment in any other in any country, in any state, in any part of the world.
Where is the proof that they were discriminated because they were Dalits? My limited point. Where is the proof that they were discriminated because they were Dalits?
I mean, what were they, Sardeep, otherwise?
Are you saying, are you saying if they belong to another community, they would not have been expelled, that the minister would not have intervened?
Of course not. Of course not. Of course not. There would have been discussion held. There would have been people would have intervened. They would have discussed with them. This is not the first suicide in the University of Hyderabad. There have been 10 other suicides, almost 10 suicides in the University of Hyderabad, which are only the Dalit students. One has to understand why Dalit students are committing suicide.
Respond to that, Saurabh Kumar. These are very...
Rohith's letter has to be understood in the context, and the context is that the first proctoral board had given them a punishment of saying that we should kind of give them a threaten the students, say that behave yourself, and they should be let go. And when the next vice chancellor comes, he appoints
in the first inquiry, Sushil was not there to submit their deposition because that person was in hospital.
Let me finish.
That is why in the second inquiry,
Give me, please hear me out. I did not intervene to you. Please hear me out. I'm speaking.
Okay,
please hear me out. What I'm trying to say.
Okay,
it was the second proctoral committee meeting in which basically the suspension orders were handed over to these students, and these suspension orders were given to them without hearing their story. All these four and five Dalit students, without listening the take of the Ambedkar Student Association, the punishment was handed over to them. No, they were not given a chance to even for the deposition.
Why don't you put the whole story before the channel?
What is the whole story? Saurabh Kumar, what is the whole story?
Why don't you put the whole picture?
Saurabh Kumar, what is the whole story? The fact is, should have been... Just a minute now. Just a minute right now. Let Saurabh respond. You have made a very serious charge. Saurabh Kumar, let us be clear.
Yes.
Were these students, was the letter sent by the minister Bandadu Dattatreya to Smriti Irani, then forwarded to the vice chancellor because there was a sense that this Ambedkar Students Association was taking on the ABVP? Did the minister intervene on behalf of ABVP against the Ambedkar Students Association? Were they removed from the college because they were Dalits?
Sir.
Yes or no? Is there not a direct connection to the fact that they were Dalits?
I'm telling you what happened. No, not at all, sir. What happened is, just listen to me first. What happened on the night of 3rd of August, Sushil Kumar, Sushil, who is the president of ABVP unit in that university, he was dragged from his room, and he was beaten there, and he was brought to the main gate, and he was asked to apologize for what he has written on Facebook. And on Facebook he just wrote one thing, that the ASA is talking about hooliganism, feeling funny, and for that those students of ASA were very agitated, and they physically assaulted him, and that led him to get hospitalized, where he was in ICU for 2 weeks, and that is why he could not give his deposition in the first inquiry which the people are talking about. But when he came back after recovery, after 2 months,
you're saying the Ambedkar students had resorted to violence. You're saying the Ambedkar students had resorted to violence.
Yes,
yes,
and that is why.
Yes, respond to that. Respond to that, Zamir, respond to what you're hearing. That the Ambedkar students had resorted to violence, there was violence on the campus,
and therefore
the minister
were rusticated. It has nothing to do with Dalit identity. It has nothing to do with other identities. It is a criminal offense for which those students were suspended. And you are making a Dalit, you are bringing this Dalit identity to play a politics. This is very, very dirty politics. You are bringing this politics in a student's mentality. This ABV condemns in all strict way.
Yes, go ahead.
Sandeep, am I allowed to speak now?
Yes, go ahead. Zamir, speak. Did the students resort to violence?
We outrightly condemn the Gundaism of the ABVP in the University of Hyderabad, in Delhi University, when the students wanted to screen
and for that,
these Gundas of ABVP went there. These Gundas of ABVP went and they stopped and we screened.
One by one, please.
This is not acceptable.
Saurabh, one by one.
Hear me out. Have patience.
No, Saurabh, this cannot go on. This is not a program.
Don't yell. Don't yell.
Producer, please switch off the mics. There will be no crosstalk. Sir, there is a boy who has lost his life. Let us try and At least respect the life of the departed soul without making without getting into noisy memes. This is my request to you. Faizan Mustafa, Professor Faizan Mustafa, you are Vice Chancellor of Nalsar, the leading university of Hyderabad, the leading law college. You have actually been part of a committee to frame rules to ensure that incidents like Rohith Vemula's do not take place. Please tell me, who do you hold responsible? Should the university take responsibility for what has happened?
Rajdeep, I would not in this particular case like to comment whether X is responsible or Y is responsible, because it is for the inquiry committee which MHRD minister has very promptly constituted.
Yes.
So let us wait what comes out of that inquiry, but I would raise a bigger question.
Yes.
The High Court under me had appointed a committee to examine why our youngsters are taking this extreme step. As you have heard the friends of this person Rohith, they have said we are first generation learners, we are coming from Telugu medium. So on our campuses in universities and IITs and IIMs and even law schools, we have people who are not able to really overcome the emotional and academic stress. This boy Rohith was also not able to overcome the emotional stress. Now the committee has said that in all cases of expulsion of the students, particularly of Dalit community, on the committee we must have a Dalit representation.
Yes.
The committee has suggested that in these matters where one group or one student is having an issue with another student, we better use the restorative justice techniques. Similarly, we have said that all universities should implement the 2012 UGC regulation of having an independent ombudsman on campuses. And these recommendations of mine were accepted by the Andhra Pradesh and Telangana High Court. They were communicated to all the universities for implementation.
No, Professor Mustafa, were these recommendations accepted on the Hyderabad University? Was there a Dalit representative? Was there an independent ombudsman when this case was being tackled? Or were these recommendations simply on paper?
This is Rajdeep. People from the university would be knowing. I am not aware, but this was a direction from the High Court to all the universities, including University of Hyderabad.
Let me ask Zahir that. Zahir, was there any such, was a due process, Zahir, gone through before these students were removed? Yes or no, Zamir? Was a process gone through or not, Zamir?
Sardeep, no, it was not gone through, because usually any kind of disciplinary action is taken by the proctoral board, which is headed by the proctor. But this time there was a politics played and the case was sent to the executive council. Executive council of the university does not take disciplinary action against the students, and the orders were gotten from the executive council to make it sure that everybody, they will play hide and seek, because Vice Chancellor will say it is taken by the executive council. I am not responsible unless until executive council will not meet, they will not nullify it. This was the first time ever in the history of University of Hyderabad that this expulsion was signed by the Executive Council.
Are you saying that the Vice Chancellor was acting? Are you saying the Vice Chancellor was acting on the behest of the ABVP, which in turn had got the minister to intervene? Is that the accusation that you are going to make? Do you have any direct proof that the ABVP personally intervened on behalf and went to the minister to ensure that these students were expelled? Do you have evidence of that? Or is it true that the students of the Ambedkar Students Association had resorted to violence? What is the truth? Did they resort to violence or not?
Sardeep Rajdeep, of course not. We refuse that accusation. We refuse from the from the top of our voice. Ambedkar Student Association is the Dalit movement. It is the organization of Dalits where tribals and minorities are basically working together. And as far as the Vice Chancellor is there, he is under influence of some external forces. We are not sure what those forces are. To what extent ABVP is powerful. ABVP is making inroads in different universities. They are making inroads in JNU, and they are calling it's also a den of moisters. They are also calling the other universities. We know what is happening to the higher education throughout throughout our country. It's not the new thing.
You know, you are making today a young student at the end of the day. Let's be clear. What has happened is a young student has taken his life. It has happened soon after he was expelled. he and his supporters were out on the campus. We've heard from them. Clearly, there are serious questions that the minister must also answer. Should a minister be intervening in what is a student battle? Saurabh, I'm going to give you a final word. Should a minister be intervening? Should the BJP minister be intervening simply because the ABVP asks him to? Is that the job of a union minister? Should Bandadru Dattatreya have intervened in this manner? Should this matter not be settled by the Ministry of HRD along with the campus itself? Why did the minister have to intervene in this manner to ensure the expulsion of the students? Was that the right thing to do?
I would like to start from here because see in this suicide note he has written that I feel a growing gap between my soul and my body and I have become a monster. What led him to think that he has become a monster? This is the ideology which he is propagating, was propagated in him.
So you're saying a militant ideology
which has led to his...
I strongly condemn that accusation that he was following the ideology.
This is what he says. He says in his suicide note that I have become a monster because I wanted to do something else but I was led towards something else which is destructive. This is what he is saying. This is what he is saying. And you made a group of 30 students, you entered the room of Sushil and you have beaten him. No, this is not the way a democratic system works.
We have lost our brother.
As long as
one minute, one by one. Just a minute. Saurabh, just a minute.
To do with this case.
And he threatened the Vice Chancellor. He threatened the Vice Chancellor in University of
Zamir, is it not true?
What happened to MLA? What happened to that MLA? He threatened the Vice Chancellor of the University of Hyderabad. If you don't expel these students, I will teach you a lesson. There's a written document in the University of Hyderabad for that.
No. The point is, were deliberately provocative actions taken? Did the Dalit community student community resort to provocative actions? We've seen in the past there have been beef-eating festivals that have been held on the campus. This has led in both Osmania University and Hyderabad University to potentially confrontational situations. Is that true or is that not true, Zamir Ahmed? Is that true or not? Have there been provocative actions?
Rajdeep Sardesai in University of Hyderabad, in past 7 years I have been studying there, there has never even once a lathi charge or an intervention of the police by any law and order agency in the university.
Who are you fooling?
This is the first time in the University of Hyderabad today morning when they extracted it. There was never a force used in the University of Hyderabad. We protest, of course we protest, but we use non-violent methods of protest. Please keep quiet when I am talking. Please keep quiet when I am talking. Please keep quiet. Don't interfere and don't interject, okay? When I am talking, I am saying the University of Hyderabad has no police record until now, until today, of any kind of a violent protest, or any kind of a lathi charge, or any kind of a police intervention.
Time out. I'm sorry, Faizan Mustafa. You know, there is absolutely a situation which is being created where the tragic suicide of this boy has now got caught in politics. And that perhaps is the real tragedy that has taken place of Rohith Vemula. And this is my take on this issue. Suicide or murder? The death of Rohith Vemula casts a shadow over a caste-ridden campus in Hyderabad. That students can be driven to take the extreme step reveals the darkness that underlies student politics. If Rohith Vemula's caste was responsible for his death, directly or indirectly, then we all need to hang our heads in shame. And that's really what we should be doing rather than fighting across the studios of this country at the moment. Rohith's family needs peace at the moment.
और वो चल पड़ा और चलने के पहले उसने ढेर सारी चीजों का अध्ययन किया होगा, टेक्नोलॉजी डेवलप की होगी और नया एक उसने